I've already got that Land Rover running, but I haven't even tried to drive it yet. So today I'm going to try and drive that Land Rover all the way into this shed. That's not a shed, I hear you say, but I reckon I've got enough materials lying around, so if I put a roof from here to there, I can get her covered up for the winter. So let's get started. In the undergrowth there is a knackety old caravan base of a trailer, but it's loaded up with old Land Rover wheels and tyres, so it's pretty heavy. What I'm messing about with that stick is because I can't see the tow hitch, so I'm giving myself a target to aim for. It won't go down at all, so I decided to just get a ratchet strap and strap the two together. so this is what we've got. So I've got to get a piece of wood along there, another one along there, some pieces going this way, and then some sheets on the top. Let's go find some wood. Need some ladders and things to stand on. You can never have too many of them. And some tools, of course. Okay, so what's the plan? We need to get that piece of wood there, up here, running down there with a slope on it, high enough to get a Land Rover in. Then we need to do the same on the other side. Next, you need to measure the height of the object that's going in your shed. So I stand here and put my arm up, and then I tip it down onto the roof. That's clear, that's not, that's measured. Next, surveying the site. I think this is the highest part of this. The land seems to run that way. So from here, at the highest part, go to the wall, and now transfer the measurements you took from the vehicle that you're going to put in here onto the wall. So that was the highest point, and that was the lowest point. Right, the length of this shed is going to be governed by the length of those bits of wood. So what I'm going to do now is measure from there. Well, measure the length of the piece of wood, then measure from the back to here somewhere, and get a mark where the front of the shed is going to be. The length of the plank is 4.8, so I've now measured here where it comes to at the front. Right, next I've got to get one of those planks up there on that wall, starting about there, and then running down with a bit of a slope on it to the back. And if you're wondering how a little fella like me is going to manage that on his own, well, you just sit back and watch me struggle. Safety first, remember. Make sure all your tools and equipment are properly maintained and fit and ready to do the job. Okay, so what did I do there? Well, I measured the height of this piece of wood is about 6 inches, and I made a mark in here. That gave me a height then from here to the floor, which was about 78 inches. I then cut this piece, 3x2, 78 inches, and I found the fix in here, the other stretcher that goes through the shed, fixed to that. Then moved along to this side, making a note of the distance from the bottom of there to the level line, which is about 2.5 inches. Because I wanted to slope this way, and that line is level, so I made another mark. This time I only made it about 1.5 inches, which creates the slope. And took that measurement there down to the floor, which was about 76 inches, cut another piece, and just tacked it into the structure. Then I put these pieces of 2B1 on, and the secret with doing this is not to tighten up these screws too much, because you need that wiggle, so that if this wood is twisted, which it is, that's why it's free, it'll still drop in. If you tighten that right up to there, you may not be able to get this one in. One down, one to go. Okay, now we've got to repeat the process on this side. Put a piece down there. What we need to know first is how high this one is. Get a level line across, mark that, so we know where we're going. Here's how to do that. Okay, that's that. Next we've got to square them up. Now the sheds are not square, the gap gets bigger as you go down that way. So what we're going to do is off this shed here, we're going to take a square and join it up to this one. And then we need to move this one either backwards or forwards to suit, so that the shed will be square from here to there. Here's how I'm going to do it. Take a piece of 4mm ply with a straight edge there, straight edge here, and that is square. The angle in the middle is 90 degrees. If we put this line here against the shed, then this edge here will be coming out at 90 degrees, give or take a micron. Next, get a piece of string or a chalk line. Line your plywood sheet up with the front of there. Put your chalk line on that. Go across the other side. Oh. And now, put your timber, put the string on the timber at the end of it. Like that. At this end now, you can see that the string's not running in a straight line. There's a gap. So what we've got to do now is use percussion, knock the one on the other side backwards to close that gap. And that's that. It's coming on. It's starting to look like something. I'm going to make a load of those now, fix them down. I've got to strengthen all of these two, put more screws, more bolts in, and then we'll do the roof. I get given this wood. It's great for projects, but it does have some character in it. Look at that. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. Here's a top tip. Whenever you're doing this joists or rafters job, decide what your spacing between the two of them is going to be. Cut yourself a piece of wood to that length and another piece of wood to that length. Put them in the slots, you'll never mismeasure. Here's another tip. The last two here are not the same distance as the rest of them. So what I'd like to do is put one in the middle of the two. Here's a quick way to find the middle. First of all, give it your best guess by eye what you think the middle is. I think it's about there. Get your piece of wood and mark where you thought your best guess was. Put that right up against that edge there. Turn your piece of water over. That was your best guess, and that was your best guess when it was pushed up against that joist. Now it's pushed up against that one. Mark here. And your centre, roughly of course, only to the nearest micron, is in between those two lines. Try it. Okay, there it is. Let's see if I can give you a view from the top. They look okay. This one here is just forcing that back to keep the twist out of it. What I need to do next, go along here, drill through, put some bolts through into the other side of it, so we're going to make sure they stay up. Same thing on that side. And the legs, I mean, you could, once you've done that, you could take them out if you wanted to, but I can't be bothered, I'll just leave them in. They'll be fine. So let's have a tidy up, go and get some sheets. Down there somewhere. No, they're not. They're over there. Crikey, they've been here a while. They're those lightweight ones in a farm sale years ago for a project that never happened. Well, it has now. Oh God. Right, better dig them out. Okay, well that's it basically together. I hope there's no gales tonight because there's not enough bolts and things in it. But let's tidy up and see if I can get that Land Rover in there. Unfortunately, the evening sun is shining right in my face, so filming in the cab is, well, not possible at the minute, but I can go right down here in the shade. Here's my top tip for driving vehicles that you haven't moved for a very long time. Just push the brake pedal like that. If that feels solid, don't put your foot on it, because all that will happen is you'll push the brakes on and they won't come off. Who needs brakes anyway? Okay, let's try the clutch. Oh. Right, straight into it. That will... Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. That's what I mean about the sunshine. I mean, it's not worth me filming anything. Just give it a little bit to warm up. And then what I'll do is I'll put it in gear, turn it off, put it in gear, and then start the engine. So we can't stop. We've got no brakes. The only way of stopping is to turn the ignition off. It can be fun if you don't crash into anything. Okay, that's first gear. I'll see if I can film at the same time. Here we go. That's not first gear. Oh! Well, this is a big fat fail. No gears. Right, I might as well. Nothing to lose now, so I'll try ramming the clutch. No clutch. No clutch. Sometimes that's in low range. Oh. Nope, nothing. The overdrive, if the overdrive's halfway engaged. Nothing. Well, that is incredible. Have you ever heard of a Land Rover with the clutch stuck off? There it is, living proof. Here I am changing gears, pushing my luck really. Let's try that four-wheel drive, see if that low range. Nope. Oh, there's a loop. Is that something? No, something out. I don't know. Anybody got any ideas? Because at the moment this feels like a big fat fail. Never mind, we'll have to get something else and tow it in there. Okay, she's in. A little undignified and not how I'd hoped to do it. That far short, but what I'll do next is I'll put a sheet wall down here just to cover the back, and then I can push it backwards right up against the wall. And should be nice, safe and sound and dry. Thanks to all my helpers.